Hello, and thank you for joining me tonight. I'm a master teacher Reiki practitioner. I work out of the New York City area. I see clients for hands-on sessions and energy work in Manhattan and Brooklyn, and I teach Reiki in Staten Island. If you'd like to connect on social media, you can find me on Snapchat, Instagram, or Facebook. Or you can check out my website, which is INNATE.com. There you can see the services that I offer, get in touch with me if you want, or there's an option to make a donation to, fund the channel and stuff like that. If you're into it, no pressure, but I just have to say that stuff. So anyway, here's my grid video. It's been a long time coming. I think I was kind of putting too much pressure on myself to make it like absolutely perfect. So it's not going to be perfect, right? Nothing's perfect, but I think that you'll get an idea of how to use grids, what they're good for, just as much information as I can possibly think to share on grids for you and how to make them. It's super easy. You don't need any special skill other than your intuition and, in a sense, common sense, maybe a little knowledge of the stone shapes, which I am going to go into, but if you want to check out my beginner stone video, I'll put a link to it at the top somewhere. So hopefully that you find that useful for when you start building your grids. You don't need a million stones, like I've got a bunch. You can get teeny tiny stones, you can get big stones, you can get different shapes and all this different stuff, but we're going to go into it. So this is just like a nice, hopefully nice beginner grid video. So anyway, I hope you enjoy and thank you for watching. Alright, so this is going to be our little workspace for now. This is kind of where I do all my typing and necklace making and Reiki sessions, so it's kind of messy sometimes, but I tried to clear it off. The stones kind of took over though. You do not need anything like this, but for the purpose of this video, I'm going to show this to you because I think it has aesthetic value. It makes things a little easier because it kind of gives us a map of where we could place crystals and things like that. So I just wanted to show you this really quick and talk about it, and then I'll go into the crystals and stuff. This is just like a cute wall hanging of the seed of life. It's basically a whole bunch of circles. So if you picture a cell dividing, at first it's 1, then 2, then 4, then 6, and it just multiplies. So that's why this is the seed of life in that sense. It's a type of sacred geometry, which I would like to make a video on sacred geometry, but I'm not going to go into it right now. But really if you just Google image sacred geometry, there will be so many things, different designs that you can pick out if you wanted to print one out on computer paper or printer paper or whatever and use it to get started with your grid making. You could totally do something like that. They're really beautiful. They have great aesthetics, and they help because they create, you don't need it, but they help create just another level of meaningfulness to your grid. So that said, I'm going to come back to this. You don't need that at all. Honestly, grids can be this. Like just tossed, or not tossed literally, but something like that. That's a grid. Like I know that sounds really silly. You wouldn't think so, but all of these, they're aware of each other. They're in each other's space, and they're sending energy and doing all stuff. Now I don't really do it like this. Sure, this is how I might place all my stones on my altar if I have just like a theme that I'm going for and I'm really vibing and I want to put a whole bunch of stones on my altar, which I do often. I'll probably place them more meaningfully than scattered, but pretty much scattered, like a little, just fiddling with it, just doing something that feels right to you. It doesn't have to make sense to anyone else but you. So just keep that in mind. There's no rule. Things don't have to be in perfect alignment. It's nothing like that. However, when we do build a grid and we put a little bit of creativity into it, some artisticness, and of course intention, it creates something, more special, more meaningful, and we've taken time to put into it. That adds to it as well. So that said, I'm going to go back to my little seed of life here. Okay, so let's start with the basics. Typically you want to have something that's a generator of a sort in your grid. For me anyway, I like to have a generator, Now that could be literally a generator shape like this selenite. It could be an obsolete like this ametrine. It could be something kind of clustery with little, terminations all over it that are directing energy like this apophyllite. My favorite is a sphere shape because this projects the energy in a very uniform way, and I just really identify with the femininity of spheres, and I love how they look very orbital, moon-like. I like to put my generator in the center, and I think you'll see that as the common practice for the most part. You don't need to do that. When my teacher first taught me about making grids, she had something like this. I'm just going to do it over here. She would identify this as something, so let's say this is to her universal energy or life force energy, and then maybe this was the earth, and then this one was for spirit, and then this was humanity, and she would kind of, go something like that. So it could be very simple along those lines too, but I'm going to try to make a nice one for you, or at least a meaningful one. So beyond, when you put all the stones together, like I said, they direct energy, they vibe, they're in each other's space, they enhance each other and work with one another. So having them in an alignment just makes the energy more conductive, a better channel, and it's meaningful, it's artful, it's something that you've put your intention into. So the energy of the stones feed into the sphere or the generator or whatever your primary stone, your piece is, and that projects that energy out into the space. So you could have one of these in your home for protection. I like to make them for my altar at least once a month, I would say. I'm often driven to do a whole bunch of them and do little ones on my altar. So one might be for my relationships, one might be for joy, one might be for abundance and prosperity or something like that, protection. So this one, I'm trying to think of what I want to make this one. We're going to make this one for self-confidence and expression. So what I want to use is a lot of solar plexus stones, because our solar plexus is where our self-confidence, personal power, drive, determination, etc. come from. And I'm going to also use some throat chakra stones or blue stones because that's where we express things from. So that's my thought process. And I might throw in some sacral stones just to add to like the creativity, because our sacral is our creativity center, our joy center, etc. So on a very basic level, we could, and the Seed of Life is a really beautiful one to make grids on because it has all these very clear markers that you can place them on where you know that they'll be in alignment. You don't need this at all. You can just eyeball it. So let's say we want to start with our sacral level. We're going to start with the creativity. So I have a I have a piece of peach aventurine, and I'm going to put that there. This is a piece of raw crazy lace agate. Forgive me, Mercury's still in retrograde, so I still can't talk so great. And here is a piece of peach moonstone. So what I've done is just created a triangle around my primary focus in the center. So now we've got our sacral chakra, our creativity, our joy, our emotional awareness set into our grid. Now, on top of that, I know these are all different sizes. This is a gigantic citrine, and then these are two smaller citrines. This one is a natural point, and here is a natural smoky citrine point. So to bring in our level of confidence, willpower, etc., we're going to add these points. So I'm going to place them around it, kind of making a triangle in the places that are available. So now I've got 3 points pointing in and 2 raw chunks and 1 tumbled one. That really doesn't matter. It's all what you want it to be. So here we have a piece of chrysocolla, amazonite, sodalite, blue calcite, blue lace agate, and a lapis. So around the stones that I have, I'm going to add some throat chakra stones, and I'm just going to place them behind the other stones because that's what I'm guided to do. So we've made this with intention. It's really pretty, and I'm feeling some good energy from it. Now what I want to do, you don't have to be a Reiki certified person to do this. You want to put your energy into it. This is something that people who are into witchiness and spell work do. They put intention and then they put their energy. You can feel your energy flowing if you're sensitive enough to tap into it or you're open enough to feeling it. So I put my hands above it. I like to close my eye. You can do it however you like to. You can put your hand on the stone. This piece is highly charged because I've had it in my window and this stone really loves the sun. So I'm just going to charge this grid with the intent that it helps my confidence and self-expression and in touch with my emotions, expressing my emotions in a effective and beneficial way, removing any blockages in any of these stones. If you're very sensitive to energy, or if at all sensitive, prior to doing this, it's kind of fun to feel the energy above the stones. It's kind of crazy right now because I've already charged it, plus this guy is just so highly charged. But basically you can kind of like bring your hand down and feel the area of it. And then you start charging it and test it again and it should feel bigger. Like really bigger. Okay. So there you have it. That's how you make a grid for the most part. Now you might see some really beautiful, you can make them super simple. You've probably seen some really beautiful ones on Instagram or Pinterest or Facebook or whatever. So let's say we want to do, I'm just going to slide this over. You can make these near your bed for dream work. You can make them at any location in your house, maybe when you walk in, if you want to do one for protection or joy. So let's say we were going to make one for dream work. A typical stone I would use for dream work is something like a aventurine, no gosh, I can't talk today. Ametrine, which is amethyst with a little citrine in it. And lepidolite. A red jasper. So this is a great one for dream recall. This is very calming and soothing stone. I'm going to add howlite. I think I have a bigger one. It's probably in my other bin. So we have howlite, and even just this simple little triangle shape around the generator would be a great one to start with. Now you can build on that as well. You can add some protective rainbow obsidian, some calming and protective snowflake obsidian, and then some just plain black obsidian, which would add a level of protection to our dream space. Maybe keeping out nightmares if that was something we were putting intention into. right? So now you don't necessarily need to have something absolutely perfectly round or shaped for your primary piece. You could have a smaller one than this, but let's just say like a chunk of rose quartz. And you just want to, like, this is your love grid. You want to bring love into your life, love into your environment, etc. You can have some clear quartz points and kind of shape them so they're pointing at each other. And I've got one more here. So let's say they're directing energy now. They're kind of going in a direction. And then to add to that, I'm going to use some chrysoprase. I think that's how you say it. And I'm going to make like a square, like a box around it. Here's some pink calcite. Malachite to really intensify the love aspect. And one more. Maybe moonstone for emotional well-being and nurturing and stuff like that. So this is kind of a square shape or rectangle shape grid that you can make. Again, it's really, really easy and it's completely intuitive. If you were like, oh, well, you know what? I'm guided to point these stones in and then these ones out and bring these in closer, like that's all okay. Like any shape that you make is absolutely okay. There is no rule in making a grid. So now I make ones like this when I'm setting them up somewhere, but usually when I'm doing work for a client or when I'm doing a Reiki session, and not all the time, but a lot of times I'm kind of drawn to do these kind of parallel style ones. So here is a Tibetan black speck quartz, which is double terminated, which means it's pointy on both sides, and it has a water bubble in it, or a little speck of like moving oil. So let's say I put that in the center. Maybe my intention is to draw earth energy up and bring spirit energy down. So I will put a clear quartz point pointing up. Or you know what? I will put a smoky quartz point pointing down to draw out negativity. And I will put an amethyst point pointing up to connect with spirit. And then I'll keep building within this. So I might put an apophyllite pyramid to aid in the meditative state. I might choose a argonite stone. I think that's argonite star. Jeez Louise, I cannot talk. This one has great earth energy as well. So I might put that towards the base more. Here I have a piece of brachiated jasper, so I'm going to put this here. And this is just how I'm guided to do it. My intuition has nothing to do with like a book that I read, or you know, somebody told me how to do it one way or the other. This is all very personal. So maybe there's some ruby and zoisite in there. So I've got this kind of straight energetic field going on. And maybe on the sides of it, I want to put one going down and one going up to represent the different channels in our bodies, as one, you know, projects and one receives. So we want to project love, so maybe I'll pick a couple rose quartz to kind of go next to it. And we're projecting, we're giving love, we're getting love. Something really simple like that. I hope you're able to see. Grids can definitely be made in a shape like this. They can be made in a shape, let's say this is a communication type one. It's a blue fluorite. It has a little green and some purple in it as well. It's so beautiful. So let's say we want the double terminated ones are excellent to use in grids if you want to, because they give and receive energy. So they're great for directing. Again, things with terminations or points are good for directing as well. Like you saw on the square one that we made, like we have these points pointing in to kind of draw all the energy, and then it's like projecting out. So maybe this could be our connector, and we want to have a connection between these earth energy stones. So we'll just do a little tiny cluster here, and then a cluster with, let's say, spirit. Like we want to connect earth and spirit. So I'll do a little cluster of amethyst. And okay, so we want to connect earth with spirit. We have a little chevron amethyst. This aura point has like a indigo aura and an angel aura. And this is another piece of lepidolite. I think I'm saying that right. So those are connecting earth and spirit. What I'm trying to say is this is all very, again, just very intuitive, very exactly how you want it to be. It doesn't have to be any specific way. If it makes sense to you and it's a meaningful placement to you, then it's perfect. For protection, you don't even need to have like a generator, but if you, like, I prefer a generator. I think it just gives it a better aesthetic, plus it's more meaningful to me. So, but they don't necessarily have to be in a shape. They could be, here's your projector, here's a piece of black tourmaline, and here are two pieces of smoky quartz. So we'll put them on either side, so they're kind of like connected here, and I think you get the point. I could go on and play with this forever because it's really fun. Now, a great way to get started with doing stuff like this, typically when you can go online or in your local metaphysical, witchy, crystal kind of store or whatever, spiritual store. A lot of times they'll have bags of little teeny tiny stones all ready for you. So you can make really beautiful shapes with them. You can make very elaborate designs. I have just like, when I buy stones, I buy them for work for the most part, for being able to use them. So I don't buy a lot of the tiny ones because I just don't really need them. I won't use them. I think they're absolutely beautiful. They're so adorable. I absolutely love looking at them, and especially grids that have like all these little points or little beautiful gems within them. However, it just doesn't really serve a purpose for me, so I don't do it. But you'll see them a lot like on Pinterest and stuff. You can get little tiny guys which are double terminated. This is a tiger's eye. You can typically buy a bunch of small clear quartz points as well. I think I've even seen them on Amazon. I don't know how trustworthy how much I would trust the shipping practices for things that I find on Amazon when it has to do with fragile things, but it's possible. Etsy has a lot of crystal stores. Okay, and I'm going to do one last one. If you're in your office or you have like a teeny tiny little space that you want to build a little mini grid on, but like you don't really want people to see it, or you can't have this like elaborate, freaking thing. You can get a flat stone, like a palm stone. This is I've heard this called different things. I call it spiderweb jasper, but it's like, it's a type of jasper. I've heard it called zebra jasper and things like that. So you can have something flat, easy to add to, and then get like a little piece. So let's say this is for work. This is a protective nature, but it also has a connective nature. If you think of all of us having, all of us being part of a giant spider web, and whenever any of us move one thing, it kind of sets off a reaction to the rest of it. So that's how I think of when I think of this stone. And here's a tiny piece or a very small piece of blue lace agate. So I'm going to put that right on top of there. And then if I can find like a little point, like right now I'm going to use an apophyllite, but even something smaller than that would work. And put your little papa light there. So it's creating, it's a generator, it has representation, we're all connected, we want to communicate effectively, and this adds to the projection of the energy in a sense. Or it can represent just, universal energy to you. Reiki energy, white light, like whatever you're into. So you can make like a teeny tiny little adorable, it just looks like a little, cutie thing for your desk or whatever. That can work too. Okay, so when you're ready to break up your grid, it's great to cleanse your crystals because you've given them a purpose, so you wanna take away that purpose for the most part, or deprogram them. A great way to do that is with like a singing bowl or something like along those lines, like a sound cleansing. You can just kind of hold the stones in your hand and ask them, to be cleansed of any program or intention, so that they're nice and fresh and ready to use for the next time. You can do that with Palo Santo, even incense, things along those lines. It's more just about the intention of clearing them so that they're ready to be used again. For example, clear quartz. This is a perfect example. Clear quartz is highly programmable. This can be used for anything. If you have a jewelry with clear quartz in it, you can use it for the purpose of the intention of protection. You can use it for abundance. You can use it to increase power. You can use it to decrease power. Like if you have a stone that's too powerful, let's say malachite. Malachite is very powerful, and you kind of had this little like grid going around it, and you wanted to put the intention of, please balance this malachite to bring out all the beneficial properties of it without having it be too intense so that it amplifies any negativity. Something along those lines. So now that you've programmed this, like his job right now is, I'm going to balance the malachite, but hey, like I want to use him for abundance now, or I want to use him for protection, or I want to use him for love. I need to clear that program. So, I could do it like this and say something along the lines of like, please remove all programming, be fresh and clear and ready to use for the next time. I could hold it in my hands and do something like that. Some people blow on them like, something, anything that's meaningful to you. It's all about intention. Your mind is very powerful, and the way you communicate with your subconscious mind is also very powerful, and these kind of go hand in hand in that aspect. I hope that you found this video useful. If you have any further questions on grids, please feel free to leave your question in the comment, and I'll try to answer it as quickly as possible. There are other elements that you can add to your grid, for example, flowers, plants, a candle, incense and things like that if you kind of want to like make it a little more elaborate, or if you're just drawn to use some natural things. They don't necessarily even have to be stones, like I said, plants, but even beyond that, it could be just something that's meaningful to you. A piece of jewelry, whether that be a ring or a necklace, or a tarot card or book or a card that someone had given you. Anything, like really anything can go into your grid. It's all about the purpose, the intention, and what you're trying to accentuate or to expand upon within your space. They're very personal, just like setting up your altar is, which is another video that I'm going to have very soon. That's one that I get a lot of questions on as well, so it's coming. Thank you so much for the love and support and continued just everything. I can't tell you how much I appreciate it. I know I say it all the time, it gets a little old, but I can't express it enough. Like, I'm just very grateful. So if you like this video, please subscribe or thumbs up or give me a comment, because as small as those actions are, they really help me out, and it encourages me and it lets me know that I'm doing something right. Anyway, thank you as always, and namaste.